Alright, response video to a dialogue, as it's called, between Together for Peace and Professoranton. And, yeah, it was kind of weird. Yeah, I think this idea, though, of debates are good. The formats are always kind of tricky. So, yeah, it's worth trying something like this. They kind of, they don't have any video in the middle here. It's just the audio. Technical difficulties and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, there's all this hope that you can have some sort of conversational dialogue, and I just, this dialogue will fall apart the minute either one of these people tries to be true to their philosophy. This guy's philosophy is basically faith-based. He believes this silly book, and he believes in the interpretation, the political interpretation, that defines, these certain things, okay? Jesus isn't a communist. He isn't a socialist. His metaphors don't mean people should live in nature and not have any expectations of a technical lifestyle. They should live in the world as God created it, blah, blah, blah. No, he'll reinterpret Jesus to be a capitalist, to be in favor of imposing Jesus' will on everybody else, tell everybody else they have to believe that fetuses are human beings and all this other mush. And Professoranton, he'll say, oh yeah, I like the little metaphors, I like these little romantic notions, because it gives me a way of taking no responsibility for the pain and suffering in the world, because I can just say, well, that's the way the system is. We just have to forgive the DNA, forgive the universe. It didn't do anything. It didn't mean to create a mess. And but now the mess is here, we'll just perpetuate the mess, or some sort of notion like that. But it's just this romantic, stoic kind of bullshit, like endeavor to persevere, for the sake of endeavoring to persevere. Not because it makes any rational sense. No, just do it because that's the way things always have been, so let's just keep doing things the way they were. And and he bases his whole philosophy basically on this idea that because we haven't explained why there is a universe, that somehow we're vulnerable to this argument that the universe exists because a God put it here, or something put it here on purpose. And I think that's just a silly notion. I think we can know as intelligent organisms that a fundamental part of intelligence is taking responsibility for your creations. Taking responsibility for the things you mess with. And you can see it in most people. They have a sense of responsibility to their kids. And any creator of the universe or the earth or human beings would feel a compulsion as an intelligence to take responsibility. It's just silly that it would advocate and run away. And it's even sillier to come up with some notion that it has some sort of little schemy brain and it's testing us or doing some little soap opera thing and it won't have an honest conversation with us. I mean, all that's so friggin' lame. It even comes into science fiction with like Carl Sagan-esque, where in the end of his movie, Contact, the aliens are playing little mystery games. Oh, we can't really talk to you yet because you're not advanced enough, and all this idea that there's something more to talk about. No, and the bottom line was, no, there is no other conversation. You're going to talk about how's your lawn doing this year? Are the kids okay? Is your husband's wiener big enough? I mean, it's just going to be bullshit conversation. There's nothing profounder than our silly little wants, needs, desires, and bullshit. And so, yeah, there's no secret God plan. There's no secret God elevated conversation about the hunkily-dunkily or the bunkily-bunkily. No, there's no magic parts to the game. It's tic-tac-toe. It's simple desire, chase, Cheeto bullshit. And neither one of these guys want to accept the truth that it's a DNA molecule. They talk about atheism and these definitions. And you know what? Let's just take atheism and just define it as either believe that we are here because of abiogenesis, because a cell was created 4 billion years ago through chemical reactions that took place in a sloshy sea. No witches, no hobgoblins, nothing made it happen, no God poked it, no God shot lightning bolts into it or laser beams. No, it happened through chemical process, and that's all. And, you know, Professor Anton keeps wanting to say, oh, well, it's a deterministic universe, so if you believe it's a deterministic universe, you have to accept that life was inevitable. And he just eliminates what is meant by determinism, is the idea that if you reshake the dice, if you remolded the Big Bang, or the moment of an uncertain plasma, an unformed plasma, where there is no time, and there is no space, and there is no matter, there's just a plasma before it explodes. And for this instant in time, there is randomness. There can be something different, some uncaused effect. Yeah, if you call that the rolling of the dice, you might have to roll those dice. You might have to explode that universe. You know, light speed times before you'll create a sentient being. It might only happen once in forever. That could be the simple truth of the circumstance. But the bottom line is we don't have to go back that far. We can go back to abiogenesis. And let's call that atheism. If you believe in abiogenesis, unformed by aliens or gods or any other ultra-natural force, then you're an atheist. That's atheism. That tells you all you need to know about your existence. It's just chemistry. Run amok. That's all it is. It's a crystal crystallizing. It's water freezing. It's a process. And once the process is initiated, it will not stop if conditions remain suitable for it to do its spreading. That's what it is. That's what it does when those circumstances are struck. And there's no magic, there's no hidden story, there's no extra chapters, there's nothing. There's just a stupid process. Alright. No mystery. Really. And nothing, there's not going to be any answer at the end of the universe. You can unravel the whole thing, get every single detail, and nothing will be added to this story. You're a need machine created by 4 billion years of a piece of DNA evolving in a competition with itself, with its own ancestors. It spends 4 billion years chewing the crap out of its own kind to eccentrize itself into this. And that's all the story there is. It's sad but true. And so they're both just playing a game. This guy's game is, I would say, more dangerous because it's based on dogma. But this guy's game goes nowhere because it denies the most fundamental truth of our existence, which is we have all the facts we need to draw the conclusion of what we're caught up in. We can see the maze, we can see the cheese, we can see the desire, we can see the stupidity. It's over. So anyway, but they're kind of talking like this is a constructive conversation. And I would argue that as soon as this guy starts defending his dogma and his authority, his right to impose his will on this guy's rights, they're not going to get along anymore. Okay, and as soon as this guy says, I don't like your explicit, there was a Noah, there was an Adam and Eve, I don't like you telling me I have to believe that shit. Yeah, then they're not going to get along anymore. But as long as they skirt those disagreements, they can just play this little conversation game like it matters. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter politically. It doesn't matter, I'd say, even psychologically. There's nothing gained from this. The only reason why this guy tolerates this guy is because this guy is bad-mouthing the science that'll make this guy look like an idiot. So this guy likes this guy only because he's fighting the same enemy, which is the truth. This guy fucks with the truth. This guy wants the truth fucked. Yeah, that's pretty much all you can say about this bullshit dialogue. What you have to have in this world are debates and arguments and fights. We have to find the truth. Okay, we have to solidify the truth. We have to make the truth real in this world, because if we keep walking around thinking we all have it and it's different, you're doomed to failure. So somebody's going to have to win and somebody's going to have to lose in the end. So anyway, let's jump ahead to, I think it was around 19 minutes. Ooh, my wireless mouse quality is low. I think I will cry about that later. Alright, 19 minutes, let's try there.
Here and now, and there is that additional sort of benefit, I guess you could say, of there being a heaven. So if Jesus came to me and he said, Jack, there is no heaven, I would still say, I'm still going to follow you, because given who you are, the reality of who you are, there is, to me, nothing greater in life to be in communion with than you, and that is ultimately sort of this internal desire that I have and I found.
You know, it's such a joke, right? I mean, they talk about spirituality and their soul and the dignity of humankind, and they're having conversations with comic strips. They're not even comic strips. They're drawings in the sand. They draw a little happy face in the sand and have a conversation, like that guy on the island thing with the stupid face on the soccer ball. I mean, what? That's dignity. Dignity is making up a mommy to hug you. I mean, it's just such bullshit. Well, I can't really. There's nothing there.
I'm satisfied.
And you could say to God, God, I forgive you. It's okay. You did. This world is enough for me, and the injustices are part of my own shaping stone for strength, and it gives my life purpose to do what can be done to minimize the suffering in this world.
And isn't that just a magnificent, you know, let's just justify the slop. Let's just say, okay, it's mediocre, but that's all we deserve. You know, but yeah, it's just so purposeful to just keep reproducing, because yeah, that's what DNA molecules do, they reproduce, so let's just keep doing that. Even though we're accomplishing absolutely nothing, there's failure all over the place, we'll just settle. We'll just say it's acceptable. We don't care. Oh, if it's 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, make it 10 million, make it 500 million. I don't give a fuck. Whatever price tag you put on it, I'll pay it as long as I don't have to pay it. That's the beauty of it. You know, as long as he can sit in his comfortable living room and have a conversation, you know, with his eyesight and all his senses working and not paralyzed and not crippled by pain, yeah, then it's all worth it. It's all sure. Go ahead. You know, slaughter all the Indians and kill all the damn fucking Jews and, you know, fuck all, nuke the Muslims. Who cares? I'm doing okay. That's all I'm hearing, fella. Yeah, sounds pretty lame to me. Why don't we ask the people really enduring it how well they're doing?
In a lot of ways about patience, forgiveness, courage, and compassion in light of the horror of it.
Exactly. I mean, that's, to me, is sort of
courage and compassion and blah blah blah. Again, I mean, how is it an expression of compassion to say, yes, wallow in your suffering? I mean, this is a perversion of compassion. If compassion isn't built out of empathy, some capacity to feel somebody else's pain, then I'm sorry. You're just, there's no way that's palatable. You'll choke on it. If you look at the real world and have honest empathy, you will choke on this meal. You can't eat it. It's too fucking disgusting. It's too fucking expensive for your silly American Idol wet dream. Yeah, it really is pitiful. For what we have accomplished, which is absolutely nothing, yeah, the price is way too friggin' high. Alright, we'll try about there, I think. Should be something there.
Of what it means to be human and how human existence should be lived out, that they believe is fundamentally grounded in these particular notions, whether it's notions of a god or notions of a culture or language, or, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, no, I both do. I mean, I think this is partly why the the religious question isn't going to go away. I mean, many people have argued that we are a religious animal, that's part of the way you designate the human being is that you can already see it in primates. They have forms of superstition, forms of significance that seems to be invisible, that's more than practical. The dawning of art is, it's...
Oh, whatever. So yeah, this whole thing with art and again, it's just this romantic, stoic, and metaphorical myth. Let's just tell fables to each other and aggrandize our struggle and make it all sound like we're doing something. And it just, I just end up thinking of like South Park and the little gerbil going up the guy's colon or something, and they sing a little song about it. I mean, you're just telling a silly story. You're imposing, you're just looking at it through this fake cartoon drawing of purpose and meaning that has nothing to do with the actual reality, what it's really made out of. It's just a stupid, unnecessary, selfishness placating lie. You're not demonstrating courage when you're running this fast and this hard from the truth. Ugh. So another context of this whole thing is they've referenced me a couple of times in the video without saying my name, which is so fucking ironic. They just keep talking about that entity out there who says... And it's just so funny. It's like I am a god. I mean, they're afraid of me like a god. They can't utter my name. Or I'm like Beetlejuice. And they're afraid. They say Beetlejuice's name and he'll show up. They can't say in Mendham. It really is fucking hilarious. So anyway, the last little clip here should be about 37 minutes in, I think. Let's see what we get. Oh, maybe I was supposed to play all the way to 37. Well, that seems a long way. I don't think I want to do that. Well, let me play from here. I'll pick 33, see what we get.
Caring gets brought in there, as the part of caring gets brought in with Christians, is, look, the moment that you begin to step outside of sort of the confines of your framework, and you begin to sort of impose it upon others outside of it, well, then now we care, because now this atheistic framework is becoming one in which you're trying to establish sort of these power words such as rationality, logic, and reason and truth in such a way as though it's almost exclusive to you. Right. And so I'm...
Yeah, it did. My mistake. Yeah, I hit the button. So I have to tie that together. Yeah, with power words like truth, logic, facts. Yeah, it's a power word. Oh, we're going to impose the facts on people. And you're going to impose your dogma on us. And that's some sort of fair exchange? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a reasonable argument. You're outside the bounds of reason. Okay? Logic trumps dogma like 5 million to 1. If you put it on a scale, I mean, logic just wins so big over dogma. 2,000-year-old crap written, by fucktards who didn't know what an outhouse was.
I'm going to call sort of BS and say I don't think there's much consistency here. Right. I mean, it's you're saying I'm being irrational and delusional for believing that Jesus really lived, was crucified, and rose again, and these sorts of things, but you are willing to believe in these fabricated sort of notions of rationality, truth, logic, and reason in these strict sort of dogmatic ways.
Yeah, well, he doesn't actually believe any of that, so that's the joke here, right? I mean, he really doesn't believe in abiogenesis. He doesn't want to call himself an atheist. He's leaving some kind of door open to something. So, he's hardly, religious guy, you really can't argue with a guy who won't even call himself an atheist and say you're arguing with atheism, or you're arguing with science. No, you're arguing with a guy who just wants to, sell everybody happy pill snake oil. It's got a little smiley face on it, the bottom.
Basically, I would call inconsistency.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, some of that, I don't know. I mean, I guess I think I guess part of the problem is that there are going to be a good number of scientifically informed atheists who, with good cause, are going to point out that that they have as much reason to air self-righteousness as some Christians do. See, because I think part of the reason many people are appealed to a religion is we're fearful little animals, and to stave off cognitive dissonance and our various forms of anxiety, we try to get with those groups. Again, I was talking about it as an authoritative.
Yeah, exactly. And you're doing the same thing, Professor. It's, so it's just a big joke. You're all looking for a philosophy that feels good. You don't give a damn about what the truth is. Just give me something that, makes me and my friends, gives us an excuse to have a party and not be all mopey or sad. Give us a way of denying the waste and the stupidity and the futility of this nonsense. Give us a fake and phony purpose so we can just keep marching forward. Alright, he took a phone call or something, so I'm going to jump ahead to this last bit just in case there's something there.
Not emerge. Those are pretty religiously significant. And I find it ironic that there's a lot of people who are scientists who believe in a fully deterministic universe who then want to claim that life and consciousness were both flukes. I want to go, well, make up your mind. What is...
All right. So right there, that point I've argued in the past. So he's not going to accept or acknowledge my argument. The two are perfectly compatible. You can say it's a deterministic universe, and you can say that it's a fluke that this universe turned out this way. And the whole point is there is probably some mechanism in the universe, in the expanse of all that is or ever was or ever will be, that has something called a permutation to it, or a mechanism of what could have been. And the point is there's could have beens, and if you add up all the could have beens, this is like one in a could have been of maybe trillions or zillions or bazillions or double, triple zillions. So that's the argument. It's still deterministic this time. It was inevitable at the point of the Big Bang that yes, sentience would occur on planet Earth. But how far back can you take that inevitability, and is there a point where there is no inevitability? And that kind of depends on how you're going to explain the very existence of the universe, which you could explain, a million different ways, and we probably never will have the answer to. So there's no point in waiting for that answer to draw conclusions, because you're never going to have that answer. But every evidence is there's no God signature anywhere. There's no intelligent signature anywhere. So if it quacks like a duck, or if it doesn't quack like a duck, and it doesn't walk like a duck, and it doesn't have feathers like a duck, there's no point in assuming it's a duck. It's something else. It's not an intentional universe. It's just a mechanical universe. And this is how it turned out this time. So anyway, enough said. So, till the next time. But yeah, I did, I've talked with Pyro and Stickhand. We were talking about debating in different formats and all that kind of stuff. And so I would like to blend, some kind of different style. I did try it in the past. Maybe I'll try it again. Just making 3-minute videos, or making one video and breaking it into 3 different parts, each 3 minutes long, on 3 different points regarding one subject, and just have somebody argue those 3 specific arguments in 3-minute chunks thrown back and forth, or something like that. So anyway, we'll see if I get around to it and such. So till next time.